Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Wand and Crown. I'm Hayley. Keeley is somewhere over there. And we also have one of our other agents, Sarah, joining us. And we're going to talk all about Halloween Horror Nights. It's going to be kind of a recap of what Keeley and Sarah experienced on their trip. I unfortunately was not able to stay. I had to get back for my full-time job.
Okay.
It's a whole story. I'll go next year. But we're going to listen to them talk about the experience they had, especially Sarah, because this is her first time doing Halloween Horror Nights. And she's kind of like me, a little bit of a scaredy cat, not like a huge one, but a little one.
I say a little bit. I used to be a scare actor back in my glory days. So I kind of like, yeah. I have a BFF that her and her husband actually own a company that like puts them together. And so I worked for them for a bit back in my 20s. And then I've done not Scary Farm on the West Coast quite a bit. Mm-hmm. It's nothing compared to what Halloween Horror Nights is. So I was apprehensive and I was terrified because I'm literally scared of Chucky and that was a house. So it was like,
did you do that house?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did it terrify you?
It was so scary. The scariest was Stranger Things, but no, yeah, Chucky. I thought I was going to be way more terrified, but Vecna put me in my place, that's for sure.
She was screaming no every time Vecna would jump out. She'd be like, "No, do you dare, no!" And of course, when you do that, they make note and they keep coming after you. I'll give her. That was the only house she did that in, though. I'll give her that.
And it was like an involuntary response. Like every time he would come in, I'm like, no.
And she would stop and like pretend to scold him and be like, "No, you're not doing this." It was so great. Meanwhile, I'm just screaming and laughing. Oh my God, it was so good. It was so funny.
It makes me teary-eyed just to think about it. I'm like, I know what you're gonna do, and I'm not excited for it. So no.
But I feel like the Chucky house wasn't that scary. It was definitely more campy because I think the new show of it's more campy. So I feel like the house, and it was the two houses, which I actually didn't know the full lore behind it that you told me, or not the lore, but like I guess the story of the house.
Backstory.
Which again, I just don't like Chucky. It's just not my
dolls.
Yeah,
that doesn't even bother me. I just don't.
Okay. So it doesn't bother you because you were not a child when the first Chucky came out like I was. So I had an ingrained, deep-rooted, years worth of nightmares to call upon. But no, the new Chucky is funny. And so it's a whole different vibe. Like OG Chucky is the only one I've seen. And it was even before I came, my husband was like, let's watch the new show. It's funny. Then won't be so scared and it'll be okay. And I was like, but what if it is scary and I'm having nightmares like every day until I actually go, and I don't want that. So I ended up not. And then now I'm just like, oh, it would have been fine. It was fun. It was fun.
And then funny enough, Chucky was staying in our hotel with us because at Cabana Bay every year they have a themed room upstairs in the lobby next to the bowling alley. If you're a resort guest at any of the resorts, you can stay. So this year's theme was Chucky. So Sarah and I walked through, I think we did that the day after Halloween Horror Nights. We walked through and we did that whole experience and took a bunch of pictures. And they changed the theme every year. This year was Chucky to help promote the new show. So
when we were initially planning our trip, we knew that like something like that was going to be there because they traditionally do that every year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I wonder what it's going to be. And then they announced Chucky and I was like, of course. Like, why not? Why not go to bed with Chucky? Yeah. Like literally in the hotel. Sweet.
But it was cool. It was definitely cool because last year they had the Monsters. So they had the Universal Monsters house last year. They had another one this year.
I love that one.
Yeah. So last year they had the Mummy. I have pictures on my Instagram. I think it was the Mummy, Wolfman, and Dracula. And I feel like there was maybe another one in there, but those were the three that were in the house mostly.
Those are kind of the classic.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then they did a house this year. It was Universal Monsters Unmasked. It was not my favorite house.
You were so excited for that.
I was so excited because the one last year was my second favorite house. That got voted top house of the year. Every year, Halloween Horror Nights votes like a top house of the year. That won last year. And it just, or was it my top house? I'm trying to remember now. I think I did rate it as my top house last year. It was a really good house.
You did, because I remember you being like, I'm not super excited for this one, but
yeah. I know, now I gotta remember. But this year I think I put it at like 4 or 5, and Sarah and I had a convo about it. It was kind of felt like a little bit disjointed. Like there was it was they had like 5 or 6 monsters in there, and it was like Phantom of the Opera was the big one, and then the other ones were just kind of like pop out, like the Creature of the Black Lagoon just popped out like once or twice, and that was his section. Phantom of the Opera had like 4 rooms.
I feel like he kept popping up.
Universal?
Well, I think it's just a classic monster, yeah.
Yeah, I think that I know, and it's
that's a weird choice for a monster.
Yeah,
and when we came out of the house, Keeley started like, oh, we saw this monster, that monster, and she was listing them, and I was like, I can't even remember. I remember the Phantom, and that's it, because he was so prevalent and just like over and over again. It was like not as memorable.
Yeah, and it just felt very choppy. And it was funny, one of my clients went like 5 days after we went, and I was talking to her, and like when they were there like the next day, and she was like, did you really like, I sent her a screenshot before, because she's gone before, so we were just talking, and afterwards she was like, you rated monsters that high? And I was like, you know what, you're right. I don't know why. I think because I had that expectation, and then after I thought about it and went back, I was like, you're right. But she was like, I didn't like it. It was very disjointed. So it seems that's kind of the similar feeling, which is sad, because it's really well produced and the set's great. It's just, it was choppy.
And that's the classic feeling.
Yeah.
You want the classics to do well.
And I was expecting more from it, just because they didn't have to pay extra for the property like they do for like Chucky and Stranger Things and whatnot. And so I was like, you have all the money to put into the production value of like the house, and the production value of the houses, like to compare Not So Scary. The mazes are good, but they're kind of like what you get, kind of like if you get like, I'm in Portland, Oregon, so we have like really good ones here like locally. But like Not So Scary and Knott's Berry Farm, you know, it's scary and there's jump scares, but you know you're in a maze. But it, like Halloween Horror Nights Universal, like as soon as you walk through the doorway, it's so immersive that even when you look up, like you can't see the end of like the way that they build the maze and stuff. You are completely immersed, like head to toe. Like you look up, there's like a moon up there and start, and like you feel like you're outside at some point. I was like, are we outside? I don't understand how I'm still inside but outside. Like what is happening? Why does it smell like soil? Like
and I think that was the Chucky house. I think we actually did walk outside at one point between the houses. I think we actually were outside, but you can't tell.
Or Stranger Things too. Like there's a point where you go outside and like the Blood Moon house, like you're outside like the whole time, but you went inside, but like you feel like you are outside in the backwoods of some cornfield. It is bizarre and terrifying.
You're
on another level.
Yeah, you're fully in there. And I think that's a really cool thing is like, because it disorients you a little bit more. Like you don't know when the house is going to end. And then sometimes you're like, okay, that's the end. And then we saw, was it when we got done with Yeti? We got done one of the houses and we saw, I think it was one of the Demigorgons outside of Stranger Things. And we both made a note like, okay, so when because you're out, you exit the house, and sometimes they will put a scare actor when you think you're done right at the exit. So they still jump out and scare you. Security is usually right there. They're laughing. It's hysterical. But then, because you think you're done. So it just adds to that like disorientation and like scariness. Yeah.
Off your guard, and then
just like, oh god, it's done. And then
because I remember Keeley was behind me, because in every house she's like, you're gonna go first. Okay. Cool.
It's like, I'm pregnant, you have to
go first. Exactly.
Always, to protect the baby and put the baby in the middle. Okay, fine. I'm fine.
Well, and the house that got me the most, so and I always like to put this caveat for everybody, every walkthrough is different. What Sarah and I experience is probably different from people that came in 5 minutes after us. And especially on a different night, different everything. It's always a different experience. I did not like Blood Moon. I rated that as I think I put that as my least favorite house, if not my second to least. my client that was there the following week said it was one of her favorites. So it just really depends on your run through. If
And
the
what
scare
you
actors
like.
are doing a changeover, yeah, it's really weird. And again, everything's great. The sets are always great. It just kind of depends on your run. But The Last of Us, I was expecting it to be really good. I've heard extremely mixed reviews. I rated it, I think it's actually my top house because the scares where we hit every single scare perfectly.
Yeah.
That was the first house we did. So I think that helped because we hit them like as soon as it opened.
They were timed. Yeah.
It was timed really well. And at speaking of at the end, it was the last scene I think we walked through because it was really cool. They put a progression of I guess they're zombies. I can't even remember because they start out, I know, clickers. And then I can't remember the next one and like the progression of how they evolve.
Yeah.
So at the end, there was this big wide open room and like Sarah, it was like an outside area and you think you're done. Sarah got ahead of me by like, 5 steps.
Oh no.
It was a bloater, which is the really big thing. Stepped out literally in front of me, put his arm in front of me. I stopped and screamed. That was the best scream of the night. It was like the first house got me so good. Oh my God, I screamed so loud. And I was like, all right, this is my top house. Like right off the bat, not even because of like anything other than the screams were so on point and the scares were so on point. So
yeah,
I
The
really
Last
like
of
that
Us.
one.
Yeah.
Did you guys do the Exorcist one? I can't remember. I know you were worried about that with the smells.
Yeah, we did. And it was fine. It was fine. I think because we hit it towards the end of the night. So it was fine. I don't think any of the houses smelled too, I mean, like Sarah said earlier, like you smell like the soil and like dirt, but really that's usually mostly in the houses. Or Yeti smelled like pine. It smelled like pine. So it was outside and you're like in a forest. So
There was a little bit of like a urine smell too,
Yes.
which is,
that's just
look out for a Yeti when you're camping.
It was
It
quick
wasn't
though.
as bad as pungent as you thought it was going to be. Like we were worried. Keeley was worried. I was worried. I have problems with nausea too, even though I'm not pregnant. And we were both like asking people in line, "Have you done it? Does it smell? How bad?"
And I got mixed reviews from people. Like I'd asked in a Facebook group, got mixed reviews on that. So really, it's just
Preference.
Yeah,
it just said already. It's gonna differ from person to person.
Yeah. Well, and somebody in the Facebook post that I'd made, somebody was like, honestly, the smells in the line can sometimes be worse, just because it's a bunch of people, and that honestly was kind of true. So hey,
especially for when we went for Florida weather, was not like people were dewy,
It was pungent.
Yeah, it was a little hot too. But the good thing is we had Express Pass, so we were not in those lines very long.
Yeah, you kind of just walked right past it.
I think the longest was Stranger Things. I think it was like 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think the longest we waited was
all.
25 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Stranger Things and maybe one other house was right on par with that, but everything was 25 minutes or less.
Okay.
Which when our 20 minutes would
super long, right?
Sorry. It's great with 3 people. Super easy.
Those lines are normally like an hour or more, right?
That one was a 3-hour line. For our 25 minutes, regular was 3 hours.
So definitely do the Express Pass.
I wouldn't do it any other way. I can't.
I've never done it.
And I will never imagine what that is like. It is literally a sea of people in Switchback. I've never, and I theme park like a lot, this was, no.
It was the first time I saw, because I've only ever done RIP, which is the VIP tour, and you like even skip the Express Pass. You get your own tour guide, all that. Sarah and I were debating doing that. Maybe that's a next year thing we might do. We can drag Hayley with us.
Yeah. I don't have that money.
Okay.
I don't have that money, honey.
But so that one's really fun. And then that's good for a splurge. Yeah, a splurge. If you really like the event and you really want to get like the full experience, do an RIP tour. But if you're just doing one night, Express is really good. A lot. If you're going to do like 2 to 3 nights, and you want to just kind of go to experience stuff, I don't think Express Pass is worth it. But if you're going for one night, you want to get the houses done, we sat in scare zones and we kind of got to enjoy other aspects of the event because we knew we were getting the houses done, that it's worth it.
Okay.
I can't imagine getting all the houses done without Express. I don't know if that's possible.
It is. I've seen people say, but I think they get lucky. I think they hit it at the right time. I think they're usually local, so they're, you know, yeah, they know like what time to get there. They know like the patterns of the houses, and like I know that stuff pretty well. Like I try to keep an eye out throughout this year, but even then, again, it's just luck of the draw. Usually the weekends are busy, but you could go on a Wednesday or Thursday night and it's going to be slammed just because it is.
And
so,
it often sells out, right?
In the beginning and the end, it does.
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to. Oh wait, you know what? I think it did when we were there. It was like a
We were there on a sold out night.
Yeah, it was a day or two before I was noticing, especially when we were there. I have not seen it as much that it's been sold out since we were there. For some reason, the week we were there, we were seeing like the day before or the morning of it was sold out, and it's going to start happening. Well, when we're recording this, it's almost Halloween. So it's going to start happening right now when it gets closer to the event because everybody wants to go Halloween. It runs to the 4th, actually, which is Saturday. It's Saturday. So it's,
nice.
You know, it's probably going to go, those dates will probably sell out that last week from, Halloween on.
Halloween, definitely.
Yes. And they're doing it on a Tuesday. They never do it on a Tuesday, but because Halloween's on a Tuesday this year, they're having it on a Tuesday. Mondays and Tuesdays, they don't have it. Every other day of the week, but Mondays and Tuesdays, there's no Halloween Horror Nights unless if Halloween falls on a Monday or Tuesday, which it does.
It's like their national holiday. It must be, right?
Exactly.
Like, have to.
My favorite holiday. And then after that, Christmas. Right into Christmas. There are no holidays in between. Thanksgiving does not exist for me except for shopping. Hayley, I don't like Thanksgiving food.
Day exists. Thanksgiving the day. It's like it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
No, it's Halloween.
No, it's Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Thanksgiving's like the bookmark between the two.
It's just the one, maybe 2 days, because you got to have.
That's how you know it's time to start shopping.
Exactly. Black Friday's my holiday.
Or you should be done shopping. Oh, crap.
What?
Stuff for people.
No. Sales.
What?
Sorry, I just started thinking about all the stuff I've got to buy this year. Anyway.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
thanks. I'm just spiraling down into panic mode.
It's fine. You can do that afterwards. We're talking about Halloween. No Thanksgiving and Christmas yet. All right. What else do we want to talk about? So we talked about the houses, Express Pass,
Scare zones. Scare zones are good because I got to walk through some of those without the scare actors. So I got to see some of the scenery during the day before I had to regretfully go home and not be scared witless.
It's so fun. Like, honestly, it was way better. The scare zones were what I was looking most forward to. I definitely took a lot of time to like just get footage of them even before, like, because we were there during the day before, and a lot of like the scare actors would actually hang out and like take little photo ops and then like go away. So I thought I got one of the stilt walkers in the day and stuff, like kind of just like sitting and doing like kind of some stuff. So it was really immersive, more than I expected. Again, coming from, Knott's Berry Farm, but like this tiny little thing, I can't compare it anymore. But I mean, just like the amount of thematic, like if you want to talk about Keeley, like what the individual themes were, but it was really immersive.
Yeah, so, okay, I'm trying to think. So they had the scaffolding where Dr. Oddfellow is, and I'm not going to bore everybody with the lore behind him and Jack and Chance, and I won't do that. But so they had the scaffolding, which is really fun because you walk in and it's Halloween Horror Nights and it's the neon, and that's where they do the opening ceremonies, which we skipped because we had park tickets, so we were able to get in advance. If you don't, you just get in when the event starts. Or you can buy the Scream Early tickets and you can get into the park a little bit early. So they had that. They had the Zodiac Scare Zone, Jungle of Doom. Oh no, I'm trying to like remember.
Vamp 69.
I was like,
Vamp 69.
In your head.
I know. I'm literally mentally, this is what I do when I'm like talking to clients. I'm literally walking through the map. Shipyard. Oh, what was the number on ship? Was it 32? Because I think it was supposed to be Halloween, like 32. And yeah, Jungle Doom. There's one I'm missing, and it's going to bother me.
I feel like
it's okay,
but I have nothing near me.
Sorry. I know my map's over there. It's fine. So I missed one, but
I think that was it. I'm looking around the map too. Dr. Doom, Shipyard, Vamp, Jungle, Zodiac.
Maybe that was it. Okay.
She can't count.
I'm like, that's them. That's it.
Okay. I'm still mentally walking through, okay? But that's what the fun thing is, because they're scattered throughout the park too. So you're not just like walking through a bunch of stuff and then there's nothing. Like you get like little breaks and stuff. Yeah. I did have one of the agents we work with, Marissa, she went for the first time as a scaredy cat. That was like her self-proclaimed scaredy cat. So I sent her a map of like, these are the ones you can kind of avoid and like how to avoid. These are the ones that like you can't. Like you're gonna just have to loop the whole park to get around. And I don't think they actually did any houses. So for someone like that, Express Pass isn't worth it. Just get your ticket, experience the scare zones, and experience the food, and watch people get scared. Sarah and I did that for a little bit. We just sat. I hurt my foot when we were there, so I was like limping through the park for a day and a half. But I muscled through and did all of the Halloween Horror Nights, and it was rough, but we did it. And we sat down a lot, and we sat in the scare zones. You just watch people get scared. So like.
Oh, that's the best.
People watching, yeah.
Yeah. You just find a bench and you plop and just sit for 10 minutes. And my favorite is like to find a single scare actor and watch them, like their pattern that they go through.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
I like to watch the stilt walkers.
Mm-hmm. They have the ones in front of the mummy during the day, but then watching them at night is like even more trippy, because like literally trippy, because I would trip and fall. Not even during the day, but at night. With the fog and crowds.
Yeah, sure. I don't get it. But like the woman who was Scorpio, so she was like a giant scorpion on stilts.
And she had
like how are you not falling forward? And and then just like still sneaking up on people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll creep up on you. That's what I almost wonder if the stilt walkers that are outside the mummy during the day are the same as them, because they're the same. They'll like creep into your picture and they kind of like they'll just lean down. So I'm wondering if that's the same. They're the same scare actors, team members, performers, and they just come in because, yeah, it's pretty trippy. There's this year for 32. It was in the Shipyard Scare Zone. It's a bat, and Facebook has dubbed her Batricia. She's like got a cult following. She's on stilts and she's got the wings. People are obsessed with her. They're like, the icon next year should be Patricia. Like, just have. That's the one thing I love about Universal is they'll take a joke and just like the Velocicoaster churro carts, run with it. They let the fans help with their marketing. It's phenomenal.
That's how you find your kind of like how you hook on and have like the fans, feel a part of things and have that running joke and stuff. Yeah, I love it. Yep.
But that's what happened with Little Boo. Lil Boo. That's how he became such a big thing, is because he was there, 3 years ago, 4, I can't even remember now. And
because he's become so ingrained.
I was gonna say it's all just running together in my head. Don't ask me which house was which year, because I'm not gonna remember anymore. But he got like a cult following, and now every year there's Lil Boos everywhere. Merchandise was made after him. It's all because people became obsessed with him. He wasn't meant to be anything big, and he just became big.
Cute.
He's very cute. Yeah. He's very cute, and he was in the bar at Cabana Bay.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to go find him. Mm-hmm. I have footage. I'll have to like just zoom in.
Yeah, I can't remember where he was. I have a video of him from last year. I don't have one from this year, but yeah, he was, I remember seeing him when we walked past, when we checked in. But yeah, that's another really fun thing.
Now, what about like what rides and stuff? Did you guys go on rides?
We didn't, just because I couldn't ride anything because I'm pregnant. So anything that was open, I couldn't ride. And I told Sarah, I said, if you want to go ride anything, like I am more than happy to camp out and just be amongst my people. Since we had Express, we could have used Express for rides.
Okay.
So,
That's good to know.
Yes. So Men in Black was open. Transformers.
Ooh, Hagrid's, that would be fun.
Gringotts. Hagrid's at
Yeah, I was like, wait. Yeah, Gringotts.
I'm new here. Sorry.
I was gonna say this is the first timers recap. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I know, but you guys did do
we
Hagrid's
have to
at night.
talk about the Dark Wizards, no.
Death Eaters. Yeah, I was gonna say I was
Really?
too busy looking
Wow.
at Death Eaters to be too worried about
Yeah, I was
what
gonna
rides
say
were
because
open.
Gringotts is
It's my
open.
Harry Potter card. Oh my god.
Yeah, I left Keeley sitting on a doorstep in was like, I'm gonna go like explore
go.
while you do that. Yeah, which was nice. Like, I was so stoked that you wanted to take all those breaks because I didn't have to ask to take any. So it's usually me. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, anytime I felt like I needed to, she was like, I need a break. I'm like, this is great. I can't. This is like the best situation ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go like explore. And so Diagon Alley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, because we're
Yep.
in Universal Studios. I'm like,
Yep.
Yes, and then Islands Adventure is the other one. Okay, yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Code switching. New here. Sorry. I'm from Disneyland. But yeah, like I just happened to walk up like on one of the Death Eaters, and he was like, and so I was like, I'm just gonna walk. I'm just gonna follow him and see what's happening. He ran into some other guests that had like the full robe and everything, and they had a wand duel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is the best thing ever, because for me, live entertainment in the park is my jam, and I had no idea what to expect. But I was like, oh, this is the best. This is the best. My little actor heart was like so excited. And I just followed them around, and they all converged in front of Gringotts, like all the Death Eaters. And then the dragon breathed the fire right at that moment. And I was like, this is like the literal best timing in my life. And like, so I have like a video of all of them in formation with like the fire just like shining down on them as they're doing all these spells and stuff. I'm like, this is intense. This is the best. If you don't even go to the mazes, just hang out back there.
Yeah.
And that's like completely worth it, because they just come out so often and randomly and in the shadows. And that was just one of the little shows that they do. I guess like over to the side, they do a whole other thing that we didn't see with like,
scripted thing.
Yeah, they have like they all kind of gather around this one area, because there's like a fountain back in the side of Diagon Alley. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away for people who want to see it, because you have to see it. But yeah, they definitely do like convene there and have a situation. Yeah.
I think they're going to continue to do that, because this was the first year they had it at studios. Normally Death Eaters are at Islands over in Hogsmeade, because we saw that last year. So on the night we didn't do Halloween Horror Nights, my husband and I were over there, and we got to experience that. I like that aspect. I kind of wish they would do Death Eaters in both parks, so that way if you're not doing Halloween Horror Nights, you still get to experience that, especially for kids and stuff. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So I wish they would do it.
People like me.
It's okay.
That's why you have to go. You have to go.
Yeah, you're going next year, so it doesn't matter. But I like that they had it. I like that they had it at studios, but I think it was really cool to watch it at Gringotts, and you're in that like spooky mindset, and it just like really added to it. And they had like music playing, and the lights changed, and they had fog back there, and it was just really cool. The other thing new that they did this year, well, they did two things. The first one small thing that we didn't see, because I think it's cool for some people. They had David S. Pumpkins from SNL. He was over at one of the bars. I've seen the videos. Like, it was cool. He just says his little clips. I'm like, that's kind of it. But I think that's fun. The other thing that Sarah and I were at, so the new Starbucks location, or the old Starbucks location, is now open. But when we were there, it was being refurbed. So they had it over by Cafe La Bamba. So we went and we're like, hey, let's just, Sarah was like, let's go. I need Starbucks. And I was like, you know what? Same. This is early in the night. We order our Starbucks, and they have it's called the Roaming Horde of Megans from the movie Megan, the doll movie. It came out last year. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's speculation there's going to be a house of her last year. It kind of rolled into this year. didn't happen, didn't get announced, and then they announced this. So it's just a random roaming horde. There was literally no rhyme or reason. Death Eaters are kind of like regular. Megan Horde, there's 2 locations for this year was in front of Mel's, and then I think the other one was over by Men in Black. I think it was around the lagoon somewhere. I think it was by Men in Black, but I could be wrong on that. Okay. So Sarah and I are in Starbucks by Mel's, and we're talking. Well, I think she had her coffee. I picked mine up, and we heard the music start. My foot hurt, and I'm telling you, we ran across the street because we saw the crowd and we heard the music starting for the dance. We ran over there and we were trying to find spots, and like it was so crowded, but it was so cool to see because every time I saw that video come up on like my For You page or on Instagram or Facebook or wherever I'm scrolling, it just like is memorizing. So the fact that we got to see that, we got lucky because like I said,
is it mesmerizing or memorizing?
Mesmerized. Baby brain.
It wasn't me this time. It
baby brain.
Just checking.
I didn't
that
say
was me.
anything.
Well, honestly, I do have it probably memorized at this point because I've watched it so much. So like I'm not wrong.
She is completely underselling like the perfection of the timing and how much we like busted over there, because literally, you know, Keeley, your caramel macchiato is ready. And then you hear the music in the background, and Keeley's like picks it up and is turning around, is like, let's go.
We like made eye contact.
Running,
I'm like, that's it.
I'm like,
just
good thing I already have my latte. Like, cool. And then I run after her. Sure. I don't know what we're running towards. It's music. That's all I know. And then I see them and I'm like, I get it now. She is gone. I can't find her. So I just find like a hole, and then I see that she's behind me, and I'm like, oh, you be here in this blank spot. And then I go and sat down on the ground and shot a video between someone else's legs, because that's just, I needed content. So that's just what I do. Yeah. But I was like, oh yes, this has happened. This is perfect timing.
It was
literally
perfect.
The best thing that could, like, yeah.
It kind of been, if we would have gone and got coffee at that exact moment, it was perfect. And if we would have ordered 2 minutes later, it was perfect timing to see that. And yet again, there's no schedule. It is extremely luck of the draw. If you see people starting to, I don't know if they're going to do that next year, something similar. I hope they do, because obviously it was extremely popular. You could take pictures with them afterwards. So that was really fun.
Yeah. Which for RIP tour happened to be standing right there, and they got to like take a bunch of pictures first and stuff too. So RIP tour definitely a perk. I think is like, I think they knew that was going to happen, because you know what I mean, like where, when, and where to be.
And I'm wondering too, because the Cafe La Bamba, that's where they have their pre-tour reception. So I'm wondering if they were like, hey, like we're leaving, so why don't we know this is happening right here? Yeah. So
yeah, I think so. I really do.
I'm wondering, because they have to. Their team members definitely know when it's happening, so they definitely have to time that correctly, for sure. I don't know. We don't have too much in the food to talk about. If I brought it up 50 times, I'm pregnant, so I was not eating a lot. Sarah's not a big eater, so also the lines for food and drinks. You need your own express pass for. It just it's wild. But the one thing that we noticed where The Last of Us food was, we saw it through the scare zone, the Vamp 69 scare zone. It said exit only, and we're like, oh, what's there? Like, let's just walk through. They had a stand outside that everybody, like 40 people were waiting in. We walked past it into the alley to the one we could see from the exit, and there was nobody there.
Yeah, they had like a thematic Last of Us kind of walkthrough area, and at the end of it was a food cart, and like no one. You could have just walked right up and got whatever you want.
The same as what everybody else was waiting for.
Yeah, and I think another tip too is if you can get in before, do the stay and scream for that like extra, I think it's like $40, or if you have like a day ticket or an annual pass, because a lot of the food carts and stuff were already selling food like a little early, like a couple hours ahead of time. They started putting out like those menu items, not everything, but
just
there were
something to snack on while you wait.
That's what I did last year. Was when I went with Cody, I think we did 2 houses. We did this, Sarah and I did this too. We just used our express right out the gate, just because again, and then we got to take our time. We got to take those breaks. We got to sit in the scare zones. But Cody and I think we did 2 or 3 houses, and then I got my twisted taters because I'm like, I know these lines are going to get long because they hadn't even opened up yet. I think for the event started at 6:30 and this was at like 6:15. So I'm like, let me get a snack now, because when we got pizza fries, probably 4 hours later, we waited, I think, 25 minutes. So yeah, for pizza fries. And we were so hungry, there was no way we were going to skip it.
But, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have like that small window of time and like houses, scare zones, there was Nightmare Fuel, which is like a little stage show that they do. So there's other things that we didn't do that you can still do. So
there's like a burlesque show, right?
That's that.
Yeah, that's the Nightmare Fuel. Yeah,
it's like stunts.
It's not burlesque, but
kind of like a circus sideshow thing.
Yeah. So there's a lot to experience. You definitely
crowd.
Yes.
I don't know why this means older.
Okay, Haley.
Anyway.
Yeah. In wisdom, you go up, right?
There you go.
That's what you're saying.
Older, would you say that kids could go to this? No, Keeley, you said in like our past videos, 13 and under.
Probably not. I wouldn't suggest. They've gotten a little bit more kid friendly. And I always say, you know your own kids. If your kids hate scary stuff, do not take them. If they love scary stuff, maybe, but just know people are drinking, people are cussing. It's an adult themed event.
Yeah.
So know what you're taking them into. That's where I would caution. I don't think it's necessarily the scare zones or the houses. If your kids like that stuff, it's going to be the other guests that are there. Not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just adults being adults. And you might not want to
take an adult vibe.
Yeah. You might not want to take a small kid around people. I mean, there's people that are over drinking. There's people that are just drinking a lot. There's, again, cussing. There's just kinds of like, it's an adult environment. So that's what I would caution against. Yeah. I would. Yeah. Okay. Houses might be fine, but
everything else.
Yeah, because like my kids are 15 and 16, and I don't think they would be down. You know what I mean? Just because of the environment, like you said, like it's like the houses and things, like, you know, they're at that age, they're older, they're a little wimpier, but
they could handle.
Yeah, they could, but it's just like you said, like they might. It's not like it's inappropriate or bad. It's just they wouldn't enjoy themselves as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
For sure. Stick to Mickey's not so scary, probably.
Yeah. I mean, that's like for them, you know? Yeah. So it's their speed. Yeah, for sure.
You get candy. I just finished my candy bag yesterday.
You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wish they had. Why can't the scare actors like give you candy after they like if Becca had pieces, I'd be more stoked, you know?
Exactly. That's the only thing we need to add. It's just trick or treat stops.
Take candy from a stranger. So, Sarah, as a Halloween Horror Nights newbie, would you do it again? I think.
I came home like wanting to go like right back. Like, I came home like, when can I go back? I need to go to the Hollywood one, you know, because it's been, for the Hollywood one in Universal Hollywood, it's been for me 15 years since I did that one. Yeah. So what it was then was not what it is now. I'm sure the production value, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's why I had different expectations. This blew me away. You know, they always say Universal, you live the movies, and that's really what it felt like being in these movies, you know what I mean? Like you are a part of the action, and really upset with Vecna. So I can't stress enough how scared I was of Vecna, because so great. I have this disassociation of like, that's a scare actor, you know, like I'm scared of like the jump scare, like the startle, but I'm not like scared of like, you know, my mortal soul's in danger, like not necessarily, but I did feel that way in the Stranger Things house because it is so immersive, and he hurt my feelings so badly on the show. And so I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen, but like he messed up, like we all know, you know. Yeah, and so it was as a first timer, I would definitely do it again. Definitely.
Awesome.
You already know my feelings on it.
Obviously.
I bring it up every episode, even when it's not even related to it.
But no. We'll do a whole group trip next year.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. We all have our annual passes.
Yeah.
And yeah, and if we do the RIP, personal tour, and if we get a big enough group and you divide the cost, I mean, it's not much more than what we paid for our express passes.
Yeah,
that
could make
plus
sense,
the
Keeley.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
We'll convince you. It's fine. We'll convince you.
And then we'll get in on the Megan Horde like right when it happens.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect.
In case like Starbucks doesn't sprinkle its
It's
pictures
not.
us
They
like it
moved it
always
back.
does.
It's
Sprinkle it
reopened
Starbucks
again, so we won't have that timing unless if they move it. So unless it's by Transformers, maybe they'll do that.
Which I didn't know that giant Transformers came out. Thanks for the heads up. Like I saw that after I left in a video.
Oh,
I was like, these are a thing. Why? Because I was trying to stay spoiler free, so it would be like this super magical adventure. Yeah, and then I got home and it was like giant actual Transformers are there. Okay.
You know
So
why?
that's
Because we didn't really walk that way, and then we saw the Minions right there, and we never kind of went down further that alley where the Transformers meet. Yeah, but they're really fun.
And so I put off that ride because it's like a 4D ride. And so I was like, oh, I'll just wait till we go with it. Because I'm going back in a couple of weeks with my family. So I was like, oh, I'll just wait. And now I'm like, oh, there's giant robots. Great.
You guys are going to have so much fun now that you're going to have like days to be there. It's going to be. And you got a good sampling. You went with Hayley and I. And now you know the ropes.
Get the lay of the land.
Yeah. Try to lead people around.
There you go. If you need a personal tour guide, just FaceTime me and I'll give you all the weird random facts that I know. There you go. So, all right. Well, that was a recap of Halloween Horror Nights and Sarah's first trip to Halloween Horror Nights. And hopefully we convinced you to go, or we also convinced Hayley to go. And I don't think she has a choice at this point. But you're going to love it. Did we not sell you on it? It was so fun.
I've kind of already been sold. So.
Good.
We'll sandwich you. I'll go in front. Keeley will be in the back. You can go in the sandwich in the middle.
I can do the back. I can do the back. I just don't want to do the front. That's fine. Yeah. So there you go. Well, leave a comment if you guys have been, if you're going to go, and we're going to leave our information and we'll put Sarah's information. If you want to reach out to us, you want to book a Halloween Horror Nights trip for next year, or just a Universal trip or a Disney trip, Disney World or Disneyland, we can help you out. So, all right. Thank you for coming on, Sarah, and we will see you guys next time.